regarding Carson, obviously, you put him out there with Garnett and Delorier. I mean, how much of that is you also want to protect him in a situation where he's making his NHL debut?
Yeah, I mean, they're obviously, the type of players that can protect a young guy. I just like their experience. I think he's going to have questions. I think, at times it can get a little out of hand. I expect that building to be rocking with that team, in the playoff hunt right now and, inside of the playoff group. I expect it to really be energized. And so I think it'll help him possibly, calm down, whatever, just sort of stay within his best game, I would say.
Obviously, it's the team where it is. Can injecting some new blood maybe give everyone a little bit of an added jolt?
Yeah, sometimes. He moves well. I really, I've been impressed with how he's moved on the ice. Especially with his eyes up and seeing the ice at the same time. You always have to be careful. There's always existing players in there that are now not playing, and so there's sometimes some upheaval from that. Again, I've mentioned how close that room is, and I think they're going to do a real good job of embracing Carson and helping him feel welcome.
You mentioned the importance of these last 6 or so games. A couple of players said today that they stuck it. Some of those teams stuck it to us last year. We want to turn it around and stick it to them if we can. So, do you agree with that? That's maybe a good way to have it set.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have a lot of other things to play for. We can play the spoiler role though, and I've asked our guys to try and maintain that focus for six more events. We're not going to be on the ice outside of the games very often. We're going to try and keep the energy level high within the games, but we really get our best results when we work at an extremely high level and play together. And so that's what we're going to focus on. If we can go in and spoil somebody's party, there's a few things in hockey that feel really good. That's one of them. It's fun to go in and be the spoiler. It's fun to go in and take the life out of a building. That's a hard thing to do this time of year. It's hard to do it for 60 minutes, long enough to take a team that's really believing in themselves, like Montreal. You don't get to do it for 5 or 8 or 10 minutes and win the game. You have to go out and do it like we did the first 2 home games, especially, where we had excellent starts and kept our foot on the gas pedal, but we played smart. I thought didn't quite have the same execution against Nashville, and kind of never really got that good offensive game going that we had in the first 2 that I've coached. But it's there's certain things that we can play for. We can play to have some good mojo going into the off season. We can play to possibly help our preparation as a team come next year. But in the short term, to be able to go into Montreal and have a chance to sort of rain on their parade a little bit, that's our focus. And then we have the chance to do it again Wednesday going to New York. We have to take some pride in the fact that we can go in and possibly play that well and get that type of result.
You with Cam and Jamie putting them together, what is it about that pairing that intrigues you?
They're such good friends off the ice. Sometimes that can really bleed into the game on the ice as well. It's kind of come out of, not by accident, but where Sealer was when Cam came back. I liked that pair, and with again where we are as a team, to me there's a chance to see different combinations right now. I like the fact that they're both mobile. I like the fact that they both sort of have an attack mentality. Sometimes that leads to trouble. You saw the one cross-crease pass where it was Jamie to Cam in front of their net. As long as we're playing responsible, I don't mind the D leading the attack like that. I actually would I promote it. I think you have to have that fourth guy up the ice every time to try and create offense. And so I think these guys are still sort of getting used to exactly where the other guy's going to be, maybe more often than not. And the more familiarity they get, hopefully the more in sync and the more dangerous they can play.
Oh no, just as someone who worked with the defenseman so closely, is that a pairing that you've wanted to try before, or was it just kind of you wanted to switch around the defensive pairings and see how they would work together?
Kind of got to there a lot when we were down late. If we got down to 4 defensemen, I would sometimes play Sanheim, Ristolainen, York, Drysdale when all those guys were in the lineup. And kind of, it's something that, again, they've played some minutes together, and sometimes that can really help sort of get through some of the rough spots, especially early in games and especially on the road. It's going to be a different feel. First 3 games, they not that they were easy, but the environment at home when you have last change and, you're the majority of the buildings behind you, that's going to be a different animal. And the one good thing for us as a team since I've been here, I think our road record might be really close to our home record. We've done some of our best work on the road, and I anticipate us doing it these last stretch of games.
Brad, with Matvei Mishkov, John Tortorella had said that he was coachable. Like, he appreciated that he was willing to listen and apply things. Have you noticed the same thing, that he's willing to work on some things that maybe he doesn't do as well?
I think he's come a long way in the play away from the puck, the play. So without the puck at the puck and without the puck away from the puck, I think both of those are they're different scenarios, and they're 2 parts of the development sort of model for most teams. I think he's made big strides in both of those. I think his ability to stay patient away from the puck has helped him. It's actually led him to better checking, which gets the puck back quicker, which gets you on offense quicker. And I think more and more that he does that and gets that result, I think the more and more he'll, apply that and make it a big part of how he plays.
Even though he's technically still a rookie here, he did have that 1-year pro over in Russia. Do you think that helped in terms of just an overall awareness of the pace of the game, or the overall strategy?
I think playing pro hockey at any level. I played in the IHL when Rick Dudley was the GM and brought in a lot of guys, brought in Samsonov as a 17-year-old and played with the Detroit Vipers in the IHL with men. And when he got into the draft, I think it made him a more valuable player than playing junior or playing college. It's a rare exception to be able to do that. But there's no doubt that, he accelerated his learning curve by playing with men that quickly. Obviously not the highest level of hockey, but a very good level. And you're playing with guys that have mature games. You're not surprising them, you're not fooling them. So you have to learn to have success in the professional game. And it's different than the other levels. It is different than amateur. When guys are doing it and making a living, it has a different flavor.
I remember when we talked to you earlier in the season, you said Matvei, just maybe from playing in Russia, would have a tendency to drift out of good ice. Sometimes he was always on the move a little bit. Is that something you guys worked with him to try to maybe sometimes find good ice and then stay there?
Yeah, and we try and reinforce the positives. There's times when he's done it, and we try and get those clips to him and say, hey, this is really good. This is what we're talking about. And there's still other ones where he wants to get on the go and anticipate so much that he's still. I'm not sure. You might ask the coach who's here in 10 years, and he might still have a little drift to his game if he's still here. But I think it's one of the reasons that he's a great player. I think it's a reason why he's dangerous is his ability to anticipate, and we're just trying to get him smarter in that anticipation. This one was good and this one was not so good, and that's all part of the process. And he's a very willing student of the game, which I love. He's a guy that wants to get better as soon as possible, wants extra, not afraid of the being showed mistakes. It doesn't really affect him like some other young players. So that's a real asset to have for a guy his age, for a guy who's kind of has his style of play, because he's going to butt heads with coaches. He's going to, be stubborn in some aspects of how he would like to play. We just need it team-based, and for 6 more games here, he can really elevate our chances of success if he can stay hot offensively.
Last one. In terms of the Sealer-Sanheim pairing, is the hope with pairing them together that we saw earlier in the season, like Sanheim was using his legs a lot more and was driving play and is that hope maybe the hope with having more of a defensive pairing with him, that he'll feel a little bit freer?
Yeah, I think Sandy finds ways to get up the ice no matter who he's with. I do like him playing on the right side. I think he does that more often from the right side than the left for whatever reason. I think he's more comfortable joining. I think how he sees the ice, field of vision, sets up better as on the right side. Definitely plays better for me on that side. So, keeping him over there, I think he helps whoever he plays with. I think that he's a driver on the back end, and I think the complementary aspects of Nick Sealer's aggression, his physicality, his intensity, I think help Sandy also sort of keep those things as elements of his game as well. And from that point of view, I think they can be pretty cohesive and pretty symbiotic. Helping each other out, sort of get a little bit better shift to shift.